Hey, welcome everybody. We are back, and well, yes, there you go. On the screen, you see it right there, folks. St. Louis Blue, the logo of the Winnipeg Jets and the Minnesota Wild. Because playoffs are starting on Wednesday. Today is Monday. I was like, why not? Let's get some previews done. I'm full focusing on hockey for a while. So, we start off with this matchup right here. This was a matchup that was confirmed the earliest back when the Jets, I don't know when, or maybe early this week, Monday, Tuesday, Sunday, where we knew that the Jets couldn't catch up to Nashville, and then where we knew Minnesota was stuck in third, St. Louis or Colorado couldn't catch up to them. So we're going to kick things off. The first playoff preview ever done. It was second seed Central Division Winnipeg Jets versus the third seed Central Division Minnesota Wild. Conference-wise, the Jets are third, the Wild are fourth. So if it was back in the old days where it was 1-8, 2-7, these two would not be playing against each other. I'll just go off records. The Winnipeg Jets are 52-20-10 with 114 points. They're 32-7-2 at home and 20-13-8 on the road. They have the most wins at home out of any NHL team this season. Pretty good there at home. As for the Minnesota Wild, they are 45-26-11 with 101 points. At home, they're 27-6-8. And on the road, they're 18-20-3. So obviously, Wild are better at home. These two teams are better at home. And that's going to be big for the Wild. I think in order to win this series, you're going to have to win some road games. And the Wild, with that record on the road, I don't know if they can do that. I'll mention this again for the playoffs. I predicted Dallas would not make it because of their horrible road record. And what happened? They did not make the playoffs. And even though they were the number one wild card at that time, they did not make it. And they had a horrible road record. And that could happen to Minnesota. So very interesting there. Jets obviously very strong at home. Minnesota very good at home. They're the same thing. 5 less wins, one less loss, but 6 extra overtime loses or shootout loses. Obviously, on the road, the Wild are the weaker team there. If you combine everything from overtime loses and loses, the Jets are really 32-9 at home, while the Wild are really 27-14. And on the road, the Jets are 20-21. The Wild are 18-23. If you combine both. Special teams. The Jets' power play is 21.4%. And their penalty kill is 81.8%. Combining all the percentages, their Jets' special team is 103.2% on the special team. That's pretty good. Everything above 100 is considered good, and under 100 is not the best. Their power play, they're 5th best on the power play, and their penalty kill is 9th in the NHL. Over on Minnesota, Minnesota's power play is 19.3. Their penalty kill is 81.3%, and their total overall 100.6%, so just above 100. Their power play is 18th in the NHL, and their penalty kill is 13th in the NHL. So once again, the Jets have the power play and penalty kill advantages over the Minnesota Wild. Power play is the big thing right now, 13 up for the Jets, and for penalty kill right now it's only 4. But the Jets have a very strong power play, and that's very good and useful. Really, let's be honest. On the scoring side, the Jets have scored 273 goals for, which is second in the NHL. And goals against is 216th, 27th in the NHL. And by the way, if you don't know this, the lower the number is on goals against, that's better. That means the Jets are 27th, which in translation, they're 5th best. So they have the 2nd best offense and the 5th best defense. Very good for the Jets. The Minnesota Wild, 250 goals for, so that's pretty good, at 229 allowed. So they're 11th in goals for and 21st in goals against. They're 11th on offense and 11th on defense. I mean, honestly, 11th is not bad, but you compare it to 2 and 5, that's, you never know. The Jets, the 2nd best offense, scoring the 2nd most goals in the NHL this year, behind one team. The Jets are 11. They can score, but defensively they allow much. Goals for 23 up for the Jets over the Wild, and goals against 13 over for the Wild. So it's close in a sort of way. Defensively, more closer than offense for sure. Honestly, going into the playoffs right now, the Jets are on a 9-1-0 stretch in their last 10. They are on a 5-game winning streak going to the playoffs. Pretty nice role you have to go in the playoffs. As for the Minnesota Wild, they are 4-2-4 the last 10, winning their last game. So, again, the Jets really right now, I'm looking at this, the Jets, I really strong favorite, best home record, better special teams, better goals against and goals for. They're looking better going into the playoffs. I mean, not 5 straight wins on a 9-1 record, nice compared to a 4-2-4 and 1 victory. The Jets, I gotta say it right now, I'm looking at it, and the Jets, I must say, are looking good, but you never know. Lineups, the Jets are going with, I don't know if these are all correct, so bear with me here. Every preview I do, I do not know if the lines are correct. The Jets have Connor, Scheifele, and Wheeler. First line, Eller. Second line, Eller, Stastny, and Laine. Third line, Perlotte, Little, and Armia. Fourth line, Cobb, Lowry, and Tannen. So pretty good offense, pretty depth offense too. Honestly, why that's pretty good offense considering that they are 2nd in scoring. Defense, Morrissey and Myers on the first, Morrow and Dustin Bufflin on the second, and Sherritt and Poolman on the third. Honestly, that's pretty good. And goaltending, Hellebuck and Steve Mason as the backup. Connor Hellebuck obviously tied for most wins right now with 44. Injuries, notable injuries right now that I have down here. 2 defensemen, that could hurt the Jets defense for a little bit. Dmitry Kulikov and Trouba. Justin Trouba, I don't know, I'm sorry. 2 injuries, both defensemen, and that could hurt. That's why maybe their defense core is not as strong as it looks right now. They are going to miss those 2 guys. I don't know how long they're out. Those are 2 pretty, notable injuries to look at for the Jets. As for the Minnesota Wild, they're going with Zucker, Stahl, and Niederreiter on the first. Parise, Koivu, and Granlund on the second. Greenway, Cullen, and Coyle on the third. And Foligno, Eriksson, and Winnick on the fourth. Honestly, the Minnesota Wild, again, they look nice to death, but compared to the Jets offense, I don't know. I really don't. Defense, Brodin and Dumba on the first. Sosi and Spurgeon on the second. Seller and Prosser on the third line defense, and Devin Dubnyk and Stalock as the goalie, Devin Dubnyk being the starter. Injuries, Kuhn and Ryan Suter. Now that's a bigger injury right there. Ryan Suter, the best defenseman on the Minnesota Wild, probably one of the best defensemen in the entire league. And that's going to hurt the Minnesota Wild and their chances for this matchup. Season series, the first game was October 20th. The Jets beat the Wild 4-3 in Winnipeg. The second game, October 31st, the Jets once again beat the Minnesota Wild 2-1 in Minnesota. Third game, November 27th, the Jets beat the Wild 7-2 in Winnipeg. And the last game, January 13th, the Wild beat the Jets 4-1 in Minnesota. So the Jets do have that 3-1 series in season series. However, the Wild did get that last game the last time they faced. That could be more important than the other 3 games. So, I mean, I'm looking over on this, and the Jets really look like they're good. I don't see what's going to happen with this. However, playoff history, when looking over at the past 5 years, 2015, the last time the Jets made the playoffs, round 1 against the Anaheim Ducks, they were lost in 4 games. They were swept out of the playoffs. So there's that. However, the Minnesota Wild, 2017, they lost 4-1 in 5 games to the St. Louis Blues last year, round 1. 2016, they lost in round 1 to the Dallas Stars in 6 games. 2015, they beat the St. Louis Blues in 6 games in round. However, they lost to Chicago in round 2 in 4 games. 2014, they beat Colorado in 7 games in round 1. However, they lost to Chicago once again in 6 games in round 2. Finally, but not least, in 2013, they lost to Chicago Blackhawks in round 1 in 5 games. So, Minnesota has made their appearances in the last 5 years of the playoffs, 6 straight years, have not yet been able to pass the second round. Last year looked like they were going to do it, but they lost in 5. Also, the one notable thing here, their kryptonite, the Chicago Blackhawks, are not there. Obviously, they lost to Chicago 3 straight years. Last year, or the year before, that did not happen because they lost before, and also Chicago was out. So, big to look at it. You don't have any, not knowing that you don't have to face Chicago or St. Louis, who gotten you out last year, or Dallas, teams that have been able to eliminate you in the playoffs. Not knowing that you don't have to face them is really big. However, the Jets, by paper and by looking at this, they look stellar. They look definitely outmatched Minnesota in my opinion. But experience is a key factor. Minnesota, obviously, 5 straight years in the playoffs. They know what they need to do, who they need to watch out for, right? Whereas in the Jets, they went once in 2015. They have a little bit of experience because of it, but they never won a game. So it's really that's a big advantage right there for Minnesota. X factor, I'd say, for Minnesota, Devin Dubnyk. Yeah, at times he could play really good for you, and I think he's going to need to stand on his head in this series to give Minnesota a chance. Because Winnipeg, like I said, 2nd best offense, 9th best defense. Power play is up there, 5th and 9th. Great offense, great record at home. On road, it's pretty good. They're going into the playoffs, 5 straight wins. They're a tough, strong-looking team right now. Minnesota is going to have a tough task if they're going to get to beat Winnipeg. Devin Dubnyk is going to need to stand on his head. Last year, he was okay in net. The problem with the Wild last year was their offense. They did not score a lot last year. They're going to need to do that this year to pass Winnipeg. Dubnyk's going to need to stand on his head. He's going to have to, really have to, especially now without his best defenseman in Ryan Suter. The Jets, I think their X factor is straight out offense and at home. The best record and most wins at home this year. The 2nd best offense, the best offense out in the West, even passing up Nashville, which is pretty good there. You know, they got good defense, they got a great goaltender, and hell, but the problem is, though, it's his first time in the playoffs. It might get to him, but he'll overcome it. So, it's really, on one side, you think the Jets are easily going to beat the Wild, but then you look at the Minnesota Wild, they've always been a weird type of team. Like, 2014, they're up against Colorado. Not a lot of people were thinking Minnesota was going to do it. A lot of people were thinking Colorado was going to do it. What happens? They beat Colorado in 7. And then you look at them last year, best season in franchise history. A lot of people thought they were going to beat the Blues, but no, they lost in 5. So Minnesota is a strange team to predict, in my opinion. So it's closer than you think, honestly, when you think about it. It's really closer than you think. And in my opinion, if I had to pick a winner, I'm going to go with the Jets in 6 games. I think they'll probably split each game, the first 4 games, but then game 5, the Jets are going to win, and then game 6, they're going to have the big advantage, and they're going to go with it. Minnesota's going to fight hard and well, but I think the Jets are they're high offense and defense. They're going to take the Wild out of the playoffs. I'm taking the Jets in 6 in round 1 over the Minnesota Wild. Let me know what you guys think on that in the comment section below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? There will be more playoff previews. There might be 2 more out, but for sure there will be this one and 1 more out today. Maybe another extra one. We'll see. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys in the next one.